Hello and welcome to the latest episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby. Today, I'm absolutely delighted. I've been looking forward to this one since we had a prep call about a week or so ago and finding out a little bit more about Almond FinTech. And in an area which I think is full of innovation at the moment, we're talking to one of the most innovative companies out there. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to their CEO, Adam. Adam's going to tell us a little bit about their journey, the story behind the business, and a little bit about how they're innovating in the space. So Adam, wonderful to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Coming at a busy time as well, I hear. You've had a fun couple of weeks over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, something about November in the fintech industry. Every event you could possibly ask for occurs within a few-week period. Everybody trying to start new deals, close old deals, and explore what's going on in the industry. So yeah, fast and furious.
We run up to it, and it's well, you get a little bit of break. It's 2 days till Thanksgiving over your part of the world. Whereabouts are you at the moment? Tell everyone.
Based out of Boston.
Boston,
fresh back from Miami. We're at an event, Cross Tech World. Fantastic event, brings a lot of innovators in the industry together. Part of that, Singapore FinTech Festival, all similar format. So yeah, part of the whirlwind.
You're doing well. You're doing well not to have the bags that I do under my eyes at the moment. so good job with that. Listen, we've got lots to talk a little bit more about today, not least of which the sort of general market commentary on what's happening in the business and everything you're doing. You mentioned a group of innovators, but you're right at the peak of that. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a bit. But Adam, kick us off, if you will, telling us a little bit about your background, Almond FinTech, everything you do and the business in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that's most of interest to everybody will be the company and the technology. So a quick high level on Almond. The company provides global money movement technology that leverages all existing blockchain networks. The idea here is that we optimize fiat to fiat transfers with near real-time settlements, and the result is that we're very often beating mid-market FX rates, which is sort of akin to going faster than the speed of light, as one of the guys on my team often says. As far as like why me, how did I get here? Basically, it took me about 15 years or so working in a number of related industries, corporate, non-governmental, governmental, around the world, especially in a wide range of emerging markets. So in Asia, Europe, Middle East, and the Americas. To really understand that individual financial stability and economic mobility were at the heart of sustainably overcoming so many challenges impacting quality of life. So basically, I look for like the best possible ecosystem which to build a technology that helps achieve this. So went back to school, did a graduate program, and developed this tech out of MIT with the help of some phenomenal brain power there, and at the Harvard Innovation Labs. And the outcome was this system that is able to leverage the collective capability and power of all blockchain networks to optimize how funds are moving, which dramatically creates a dramatic change in the system for cross-border funds transfers globally. Now it's just a matter of bringing it to scale. The core innovation is in how we help financial institutions become more interoperable and capable of moving money efficiently, and then the ultimate like rates improvement that they see, which they can then use to open up their own profit margin, pass on to their beneficiaries, resulting in greater savings, and so on and so forth. All the good things that come from not wasting a bunch of money.
Certainly sounds it. I mean, wow, there's so much to unpack from that, isn't it? So let me just dive into the thing there. You mentioned MIT there and the sort of talent that you're able to go through. Talk to me about how that came up. Was it you going to what was the origin story of that piece coming together?
Yeah, so there's a simple understanding I had that that financial inclusion, access to basic financial services is a kind of a prerequisite to overcome a number of other hurdles for most folks in creating this economic dependence and mobility. And what's not really working out for the majority of the world quite yet that is financial inclusion, access to traditional banking infrastructure, whereas what is working is access to digital solutions through mobile devices and so on. So, okay, great mobile phone saturation. Even in some of like the more rural markets that I was working in, you'd see at least one smartphone. Maybe it wasn't too smart, but smart enough, a smartphone that would allow you to access mobile payments apps and so on. So money's digital, people have mobile phones access. There's something in here. So went back to this program to basically find a solution that would leverage these trends to create a more optimal solution for people wherever they are with respect to moving funds. And then the name of the game was just rounding up the smartest people I could find in the money transfer space. So it's finance, it's obviously technology broadly, but it's most specifically like in the AI space, machine learning, specifically in various subcomponents of machine learning. It's in any kind of blockchain-based solutions, predictive modeling, data science, et cetera. These are the components that come together to really leverage current technologies to optimize these processes.
Really interesting that. And with regards to this sort of journey, you mentioned coming back from a corporate background, you mentioned governmental and a sort of 15-year journey to become an overnight success, as I always like to sort of go with on that. But tell me a little bit about, was this always part of the plan for you? Was it sort of the vision to come in there and deal with that? What was the aha moment that allowed you to go into that route?
The aha moment. There are many. All right. So the goal has always been the same: to provide people the tools they need to strengthen their immediate environment and set themselves up for a better kind of quality of life. So a lot of that work was ended up being in the space of like education. Then it was vocational training, and then it was like broader economic development in more rural communities, and then probably the closest thing to an aha moment is a recognition that when you simply provide people like a suite of financial services, like small loans, so microfinance, access to efficient payments, access to broader like supply chain networks and so on, now they've got the tools to help themselves. There's less of a role for anybody to necessarily play that's more involved. It's just, let's provide the tools that help people help themselves. And so one of these projects I was working on through an NGO I had started was originally focused on developing an education program, built a school, built a vocational training program, and then it was, hey, let's provide access to small loans connecting with microfinance institutions. And as soon as we did that, like there was less of a role for us to play, people were helping themselves. So then it just became more a matter of how do we better plug everybody into this ecosystem in a super affordable, efficient way? And then we kind of say, all right, well, it has a lot to do with interoperability. I'm working in these border regions, cross-border payments is a key component of this. That interoperability doesn't necessarily exist in most areas, or there are a lot of hurdles to it. In short, we back our way into, well, it's probably a blockchain-based solution. If you can do things on the blockchain, on a blockchain-based network, then it's going to be faster, it's going to be more cost efficient and reliable and secure. And most of these smaller financial institutions can tap into it because you don't have these huge liquidity requirements to execute real-time transactions across borders, because that typically requires huge capital requirements, resourcing requirements. So I knew it was a blockchain-based solution. And then you have a bunch of people that, we're not necessarily all like invested in cryptocurrency or blockchain, but we recognize that's a key part of it. But there are many blockchain networks out there. Why rely on a single network? Why would it just be, Ripple's network and transferring funds via XRP? Let's leverage the collective capability, the collective power and liquidity of all of these networks and all the digital assets they're on, so that with every exchange opened, every blockchain built, every token minted, you have more optionality that allows you to further optimize how funds flow. And then we have Almond's settlement optimization engine, which does just that. Hopefully that was not too long and windy a story.
Well, it's sort of had me playing around in my head, and I'm interested in your sort of motivation personally as much as anything else as well, because I'm just trying to sort of picture the fact that we've got this entrepreneurial journey that you're going on, and every entrepreneur is driven by the fact of can we build something that changes the world, so to speak, right? So are we doing something that changes the game? It's not the first business in this space, and there's a lot of companies out there who are doing some good stuff within the arena, but it's always about trying to find something different and sharper. So is it this so almost philanthropic piece, which has drawn you to this sort of launch. Is it the I know and spoken to you about the sort of technology. I know how excited you are about the evolution of tech and the innovation and all of that side of things. Or is it commercial piece? It's like what's driven you to this sort of phase, and what excites you most about what you're doing at the moment? The tech, the innovation, the business scale, the growth, the all of the above.
The impact
Yeah,
certainly excites me the most, and that's what has allowed us to kind of persevere. We're a small company
yeah,
in a world of just massive multi-billion-dollar corporations with
yeah.
endless resourcing, and we're basically doing things differently than almost anybody else. Or I mean, we are doing something different than anybody else, but I mean, at a fundamental level, like it's there are very few out there that are anywhere near derivative of it. So yes, it's absolutely the goal. The goal here is the impact piece of it. That serves as the entire team's North Star. And the beauty of that is not only do we draw in like bright minds that are capable of anything, but those who really do care about making the world a better place.
Mm,
So when we say, hey, the average cost of moving funds across borders is 6 to 7%,
mm.
and we've got a solution that can drop that cost closer and closer to zero effectively, like that is a big deal, especially for folks who are more cost sensitive in emerging markets. So that's what drives me. That's what got me going in this direction. I didn't have some sort of predisposition towards financial services or financial technology. I had a predisposition towards giving people the tools they need to make themselves better off, and that's
So
how
it
we
does
kind of
tie into all of those
grew.
sort of things at the same sort of stage. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it doesn't just tie into it. It was born of it, and it
Yeah,
continues to be driven by it to this very
yeah.
day. It's at the heart of what we're doing here.
You've mentioned a few of the sort of if you were to play FinTech Focus TV bingo with a few of the buzzwords that have been used technologically over the 300 or 400 episodes that we've done of this show. AI, ML, blockchain are all sort of keywords that people come back to, and it's a fascinating sort of hot pot of opportunity. Now, you mentioned the very hot offset of this about innovation being at the core of what you're doing. And I know the future of the tech and with what you're creating in the business is really exciting about where you're going. You mentioned before about sharp minds. When you've got sharp minds working together with explosively opportunistic technology, as you've just alluded to there, that creates a world of opportunity behind it. So talk to us about the sort of runway for the tech and where you see it going and what you can leverage and how you can work it all together.
The kind of, just as a starting point, the way to think about the technology that we've built, this optimization engine, kind of works like Google Maps. So it's like versus the old way of moving funds via Swift or otherwise, is sort of like using a road atlas to get across New York City or Boston. I'm from Boston. And if you say, hey, I want to get across the city as quickly as possible, you're going to maybe take the interstate. Just logically, it's big, it's wide, it's fast. But it doesn't take into consideration like rush hour, traffic, construction on the roadway, maybe tolls or something, and a variety of other factors. The Google Maps version of that for Almond is, the Google Maps version of that today is it will optimize based on thousands, if not millions, of variables to create an array of permutations that says, hey, this is the best route in terms of speed or cost efficiency or fuel efficiency. Almond does the same thing for moving funds across borders. It says, hey, one blockchain-based network is not going to provide the best rate, best speed, best security, least volatility at every second throughout the day, but rather there's going to be a wide range of options, and we're going to select the best one based on all those functions. So where does technology come in? So we're looking at a lot of like predictive modeling that says, okay, if we're going to move, $1 million from country A to country B, we want to ensure that X amount, like the most amount, arrives there within a 24-hour period or a 10-minute period, and we're going to pick the routing or combination of routes to get the most funds delivered. So that's a function of the speed of the networks that we're utilizing, the value of the assets, bridge assets through which we're moving funds, and so on. And this is where, like the engine's machine learning driven analytics run these calculations in real time to automatically select the optimal path. So what this ultimately is doing is providing a partner or a customer, but it can be a financial institution, money transmitter, or just your typical corporation, access to the lowest fees and quickest delivery for each individual cross-border settlement. And then where is this going? Well, as we can probably imagine, this is crunching a lot of numbers. It's taking a lot of data into account, and at a certain point, we need to start to look at how how are we going to improve our computational power, and then we start to get into hardware requirements. So now we're talking about, okay, let's use quantum inspired computing now, so that when the time comes where that's our limiting factor, now we're bringing in quantum computing and quantum computers specifically. So that's sort of like looking over the horizon.
Sounds like an exciting pathway for you with it all as well. And we came back to we'll keep coming back when I think of you and talking to you about this innovation factor. You were you mentioned before being out in Miami last week and being an event over there. I think congratulations are awarded where you were, where the innovation and technology that you've created has been recognised and awarded out there. Tell us a little bit about that and what that was all about.
Yeah, so the CrossTech event, so it's called CrossTech World, and I mean, the main thing was we're doing a panel talking about the future of cross-border payments and new revenue streams for remittance providers and so on. The award that we won was for innovation, specifically a company leveraging blockchain for scalable and compliant cross-border payment solutions and driving transformative change. And
it's great to get that recognition, isn't it? It's probably like a proud sort of part of the journey, isn't it?
Yes, it's great to get that recognition. I only wish that my entire engineering team, product team could be on stage to receive it versus me, the one who's just like pulled them all together, the smarter folks in the room to make this happen.
That's the gift, though,
yes.
Right? Surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah. But no, it's good. It's good to receive the award. It was also just good to see some of the trends in the industry. There's a huge shift towards blockchain-based, specifically stablecoin cross-border payments. And so it kind of ties into exactly what we're doing. But of course, we provide a unique value proposition and advantage for players that are looking to move beyond just a single blockchain or just stablecoin for payments. So nice synergies.
Yeah, and that's an interesting theme, isn't it? So you're talking about a show that is right in your sweet spot there out of Miami. You mentioned a few of the bits and pieces and how you guys fit into it. So it's relevant, and you can see that you've got the momentum in that sort of space, and blockchain very much at the core of it. Tell me a little bit about what we're recording this at the end of November, as you alluded to earlier on. It'll be released end of December, start of January. So 2025 is an exciting year, I think, for the space. We've been through, FinTech's been through a journey over the last 18 months or so, and there's been, whilst there's been opportunity in that, there's also been graft as well at the same sort of time. Tell me what it looks like in your space and for the business over 2025. What is there to be excited about?
Well, I think everybody's got a little something to be excited about. I mean, there's clearly a move towards more innovative solutions in a permissive and increasingly permissive regulatory environment, allowing for innovative solutions to come to market. And so that's just around digital currency, cryptocurrency exchanges specifically, but it's affording companies like the space that they need to try out new things, to leverage like blockchain-based solutions, stablecoin-based solutions, and then it actually like put some of these technologies that we've been discussing into play, like the AI tech and the machine learning components that are actually enabling us to optimize these processes so much more than we've ever, far more than we've ever seen in the past. So the appetite is increasing. The appetite for innovation and the environment, the permissive environment combined, are allowing technology companies to really accelerate and reach a degree of reach some kind of escape velocity here. So what does that translate to for companies? Well, a change in their cost structure, greater efficiency through provided by these technologies is going to open up their profit margin, because now the cost of moving funds are lower. This also affords the opportunity to lower their fees for their beneficiaries, which is going to make them highly competitive for those who are being innovative, highly competitive in the market, acquire more customers, and then also provide them the savings that they need to better their own position. And that's like at an individual level. Maybe it's somebody sending a remittance home to family members and getting charged a percent instead of 7%, or it's a business who has very thin margins to begin with, and now they're not getting hammered by high cost for just moving funds. So like a more permissive environment, better opportunity for innovation to accelerate, better impact on the bottom line for companies and financial institutions, and an overall better service for their beneficiaries.
It's such a no-brainer, isn't it, when you put it like that? A great scope for things to be able to do. So let's talk a little bit about the business. So you mentioned before you're a relatively small business. When remind me of when you started?
So we started in 2020.
2020, good year for it.
Started in 2020, launched a company in the middle of a pandemic, and then one of our beachhead markets was Myanmar. So do it in the middle of a military coup. That's no fun either. So we had to back out of that. But so it's been an exciting time, but also resulted in us learning a lot and making a better product.
Well, that's. I mean, I was going to say that's often the way, isn't it? When you're born out of adversity, it feels like that anything else that comes your way afterwards gives you the opportunity to just to take it in your stride, doesn't it? So this and you did it. So this was planned pre-pandemic, or was it during the pandemic that gave you the idea to do it, or was it what sort of stage was it at? Because I've got full respect for people, and there's so many good startups that came out of that. And if you look back at the financial crisis and how many great companies it gave birth to in tech. I think 2020, when you look back in 10 years' time, you'll see a whole host of businesses that were born at that sort of stage and chiseled out the flames of the pandemic at the same sort of stage. So I'm really interested in that process. Was that gave you the impetus to start it, or have you planned it loads of times before it? Was it sort of February, March sort of start, and then the world ends, or was it the opportunity to say, right, do we still go with this and launch it now? What sort of phase were you at there?
Yeah, I mean, the idea was born ahead of the pandemic, but the actual technology and the business model was developed and improved upon during the pandemic based on the requirements that we're seeing either as a result of the pandemic or just like those that were highlighted by the pandemic. So the pandemic obviously communicated or clarified the fact that we needed to digitize solutions. You see a huge uptake in mobile wallet usage and just digital financial services in general, domestically and then across borders. You see with this digitization, you see a demand for like more innovative solutions, like blockchain-based solutions. So we started to ride this wave, and we're kind of swimming to catch up because we're like on the backside of the wave because everything's moving so quickly and we're a small company. But that transition is what really launched us into what we have now, and made us better overall, like creating a more robust solution, one that's has a lot of redundancies. Like you're not relying on a single blockchain network, for example. So there's no single bottleneck. You don't have a company that goes under and now their assets worthless or their blockchain falls apart, or a single exchange that maybe goes under. We work with all of them to kind of not only make it more secure but future-proof for anybody that uses this tech.
And was it a bootstrap piece? Did you have angel investment, or how's it come through from there? And what's the plan?
Yeah. So we were bootstrapped at first, of course. Just a lot of sweat equity and blood and tears. I feel a lot of great advisors through these academic ecosystems. Received a lot of impact, like social impact and innovation grants from MIT and the Harvard Innovation Labs, and more importantly, just I think the biggest thing we received was the expertise of the Jedi masters that are present in both of those ecosystems. And then we went into a small
to have the opportunity
round.
to leverage both of those ecosystems is pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, that's part of the game plan. Like why work with one ecosystem when you can work with both? Again, like recognizing this is not an easy thing. We're talking about changing a global system for moving funds. This is an old, fossilized kind of way of doing things in the world right now. We're trying to transform it into something better. So all the support we could get was the name of the game, and it's paid off. But yeah, and then it's went through a small angel round and a seed round, and just basically brought in like the right investors, those that were looking for like a massive financial upside. We're talking about any funds moved, we can optimize it, and we also draw our revenue or business models based on that. So tremendously scalable, and then also a huge impact, like global impact, like world changing kind of impact. So in short, we've got the right people both within the team that came in with that in mind, like mission driven, but super innovative and great financial upside. And the same thing for our investors.
And so investment wise, that you must have been doing that through what, about 21, 22? Is that where the investment came in?
Yeah. We did a small angel round followed by a seed round and then like a small series A about a year apart. And then next year, we're going into a series B. So but
Fantastic.
early Q2 into Q1, we'll kind of be pushing on that.
So this is so much of why I was sort of leading with that is I think it's a really interesting piece of the evolution that we've seen of the fund space over the last couple of years. So you're whilst you start up in the eye of the storm, 21, 22 for investment and fundraising was probably the epicenter of where valuations were high and money was being poured into things. And people were doing those sort of raises. So going back to trying to count back from what you were talking, your Series A may well have been in 23 sort of periods, which is where things get quite tricky to raise at that sort of stage, and then you come through to where 25. I've had the last two shows I've recorded have been with VC companies who've been talking about the sort of the VC winter turning into the VC spring, and being quite bullish about what 2025 looks like for that. So it seems the timings have been interesting for you in the various different stages. I know how stressful a Series A, Series B can be at the same sort of stage, and how difficult it must have been. And it's not an easy pathway. But I think when you've got the team, as you mentioned beforehand, and the product and the right sort of market fit, that becomes a different story altogether, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and in that. You're right about the timing of our Series A. We did not hit the timing correctly in the sense that we could be we could raise a ton of money at a tremendously high valuation as a company that had a technologist derivative of every other technology with a empty business model and lack of trajectory towards financial sustainability and profitability. We missed that. It forced us to be the opposite.
A better business,
which was the intent, frankly, like amazing technology, huge profit potential, et cetera, et cetera. So it was good, just forged in fire sort of opportunity. And the investors that, came in helped us, achieve that stage and way of thinking. And now we're better for it because we've got a very, very robust technology with a very clear path to profitability. Yeah, and the support, like the right kind of support infrastructure in terms of investors and other folks that
it's so important to have that right, isn't it? And that conversation I've just had with the VC today, when they were talking about what they're looking for in 25, was very much that sort of rather than revenue growth and revenue growth alone, it's profitability. And the sort of market that they're moving into, plus the team and all that sort of thing. It's the classic sort of thing. And we effectively said that, look, this is a time for good businesses to be raising money. And I know that there's various phases where there's been any business that can raise money, but good businesses should be the ones who are raising money. And it feels like those who are getting invested in are the ones who are set up for growth. And as I say, when you look at the story of some of the most successful businesses in any sort of sector, it's the sort of timings of when they approach that innovation comes from necessity at various stages, rather than sort of being profligate with everything that people are doing. I mean, I'm interested in this Series B and what sort of prompts that and what it means. So that's on the runway for 2025. Tell me what that looks like. Who you're looking to gain, what sort of the investor profile would look like for you, and what the plan is.
Why we're raising the funds? Mostly for human capital. We can't like just work with the largest companies in the world with a very small team that has been heavily involved in like the build phase. Now it's like it's growth, like more engineers, data scientists, those that are, FX quant trading gurus, like those that have like a depth of understanding in certain fundamentals of AI and so on. These are the folks that need to be brought into the team to augment what we already have in place. So one, it further optimizes the engine, the technology that we've built to make it future-proofed. Two, it allows us to scale faster, allows us to do more integrations with more institutions, companies, that gets us to scale faster. And that's the name of the game for this raise. The type of investors that we're looking for are those that it's kind of an interesting sort of Venn diagram of requirements, but in the center of it, they're the folks that like have an appreciation for this technology and can see how it's a game changer in the sense that it's not just like, one sort of variation of like what everybody else is doing, so much as here's something that actually leverages what everybody's doing and creates some sort of absolute gains around that, and then also has that future proofing component where it only gets better with time. The better everybody else does, the better Almond does, and this technology does. Appreciation for the technology, and then also those that have strategic interest. So that could be, they're part of a global network that has some sort of cross-border funds flow requirements, or they've invested in financial institutions, or basically any company that has a cross-border funds movement requirement. So it could be FX treasury services at large, doesn't have to just be payments, B2B, C2C, which are already huge markets, but just FX treasury services. Maybe they've invested in companies like Payoneer, Deal, or Upwork, or whatever, and they've got foreign payroll requirements. Like, we can optimize how those funds get to the destination country. So yeah, so it's an appreciation for the tech, a strategic alignment and interest based on their existing portfolio companies, or like the type of investment firm that they are.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it's so important. I mean, part of the journey you said before about the small Series A, the seeds, etc., is it's such an important dynamic to get the right sort of people in there. And I'm really pleased that you talked about, without wishing to be patronising anyway, pleased you got to talk about the sort of profile of who you're looking for, because I think sometimes when you see things and people going to Series B, it's about getting the cash in, getting the money to be able to raise the thing for products and people. This to me seems like, right, we'll do it the right way and make sure we're aligned both strategically and technically with the right people to be bringing into us, so we can augment it. And when you talk about the strategy of the business right from the start and how important and the significance of the right people have been for you, that to me seems like a really important part of the journey at the same time as well. So really interesting piece to do it. So if people, I could be talking about this for hours with you, and I'm conscious of the time and, and where we've gone with it. So if people are listening to this and they've got some interest in investing into this sort of space, or if they're looking to to join and work with you, or they want to find out more about the business, what's the best way of getting in touch with you, Adam?
Adam at almondfintech.com.
Easy.
It's the best way. Just hit me up directly. Like, yeah, if you got an interest in investing in the space, good call. One, two, this is the right company for you. And I'd be excited to discuss it.
Well, you heard it here first. You know where to go. Adam, I wish you very best of luck. It's a fascinating business right at the edge of where I think a lot of the innovation in the sector is coming out of at the moment. I'm really excited by, I've loved learning more about the business, but hearing about where it's going and what happens with it is going to become my new fascination for 2025. So I wish you the very, very best of luck with it all. I'll be watching who you sign up with, and I'm looking forward to finding more of the journey and having you back on the show when you talk about the taking over the world in a bit more detail. But Adam, lovely having you. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you too.
Absolute pleasure. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks for coming on.